lesbian detectives, unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian detectives. Lesbian detectives. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message. I present to you the lesbian detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. We are here with a new episode in a new week. And I am tired. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I am tired. I had me a long weekend, and then I have another long weekend. I need to have a weekend that I can chill. I need to stop planning and over planning stuff. I need to learn how to just do one thing on one day. Guys, it's just been a crazy last couple of weeks, but we are making sure that we give you a new episode.
I learned I don't like dirt roads. We were driving for 45 minutes to a cabin over in Oklahoma, and I was driving my wife's car super low, and it was just horrible. I felt like I was in hell.
Yeah.
But we made it, thank God. And we're here.
Yeah, that road sucked, guys. And it was crazy because we went the back way. Because the lady over the cabin, she kept saying, you would pass Walmart and all these places. I'm like, lady, I'm not passing nothing but deers and raccoons and rabbits. Where's this Walmart? And then we learned when we turned in, it was another road that we could have went. So it's but we took that road back. We made sure we learned from our mistakes. We know the road name and everything this time. So we are ready for our next vacation, so we're prepared. She was pregnant, 8 months along. Her body round, her baby shower planned, and her life just starting to settle. She had a 5-year-old son, a tiny shadow, always close behind, who called her mommy and clung to her like a shadow. It was May. The kind of San Francisco spring where fog rolled through the streets like memory. She was last seen picking up groceries, checking her mail, maybe making plans on dinner. Nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing to suggest she and her son would never be seen again. For days, no one noticed. No news crew, no flyers, no urgency. And when someone finally did call the police, it was already too late. Weeks passed, then a piece of her surfaced, just a portion of a body, washed ashore near the Bay Bridge. What remains of her carried secrets, questions, and heartbreak. The child, gone. The baby she carried, gone. No answers, no justice. And while the world will soon turn their attention to another woman, a case with a headline, cameras, candlelight visuals, this story was quietly buried, overshadowed, and forgotten. 2 pregnant women, 2 bodies in the same bay, but only one made national news. The other, she was lost in the fog. This is the case of Evelyn and Alex Hernandez. Before the world became fascinated by the disappearance of Lacey in December of 2002, a young, glowing mother-to-be, another pregnant woman vanished. But this woman didn't dominate headlines. She wasn't the face of nightly news update. Her name was Evelyn Hernandez. 7 months before Lacey disappeared, Evelyn and her 5-year-old son, Alex, simply vanished from the San Francisco neighborhood. Days later, her wallet was found. Months later, part of her body surfaced in the bay, but Alex was never seen again. This is the story, one of heartbreak, of missed opportunities, and of a justice system and media that turned a blind eye. Evelyn Hernandez was born in El Salvador in 1976 in the shadow of a civil war and unrest. Her childhood was shaped by the kind of fear that leaves marks. Men with guns on the street corner, whispering warnings. Hunger that didn't always get answered. Her family, like so many others, dreamed of something better. So, in her teenage years, Evelyn came to the United States. A young girl with dark eyes and a heart still intact, despite everything she already seen. San Francisco was her new beginning, a strange fog-laced city where people moved fast and survival was a quiet art form. Evelyn learned English quickly, finished high school, and enrolled in a technical nursing program. She didn't have time to complain or collapse. Every hour mattered. Every dollar had a designation. When she gave birth to her son Alex, she was still in her early 20s, but she always carried herself like someone who lived 3 lives. She never complained about the long nights or the weight of a single motherhood. She found beauty in the routine. Alex was her anchor, her mirror, her everything. Their life together wasn't glamorous, but it was stitched with love. Evelyn worked full time as a technical nurse, waking up before dawn to make breakfast and do Alex's hair, before taking him off to school and heading into another 10-hour shift at the clinic. She cared for strangers the way she cared for her son, patiently, tenderly, as if she believed that everyone deserved to feel safe, even if she didn't always feel that herself. Their apartment was humble, a faded 2-bedroom with creaky floorboard, second-hand furniture, and photos of Alex taped to the refrigerator. Their living room doubled as a playroom. Their kitchen table was cluttered with coloring books, grocery receipts, and Evelyn nursing textbooks. She dreamed of becoming a RN, maybe buying a small house one day, something with a yard, something quiet. To most, Evelyn was shy, gentle, soft-spoken. She rarely dated, didn't party, and kept a small circle of friends, mostly other single moms from the neighborhood and women she worked with. But she was far from weak. Beneath that quiet surface was a core of steel. She had survived a war, immigration, poverty, and betrayal. She had made a life out of almost nothing. She walked with a purpose even when the world overlooked her. And then, in late 2001, Evelyn became pregnant again. The father was someone she had known, someone she trusted, but the relationship was complicated, surrounded with secrets. He wasn't around much. There was whispers among Evelyn's friends that he had another life, maybe even another family. Still, Evelyn didn't speak ill of him. She focused on the child growing inside her, Fernando. She had chosen the name herself, soft on the tongue, strong in meaning. By May 2002, she was 8 months pregnant. She had a due date marked on the calendar. She just attended her final doctor's appointment. Her belly was large and round. Her feet were swollen. She waddled a little when she walked, but she never asked for help. On the morning of May the 1st, 2002, Evelyn walked Alex to preschool. The pair took the MUNI bus like they usually do. A neighbor will later recall how tightly Evelyn held her son's hand that morning. She looked tired, the neighbor said, but happy, like she was nesting, like she knew her baby would be here any day. And then, nothing. That afternoon, Evelyn stopped at the ATM and was captured on security cameras. In her next step was Ross Dress for Less, where she brought herself a new wallet. Then, in the quiet of the early evening, she walked to her mailbox to retrieve a disability check, a benefit she'd been approved for due to her complication in her pregnancy. She was seen by a neighbor around 6 p.m., standing on the sidewalk outside her building, sorting through the mail with one hand while gently rubbing her belly with the other. It will be the last confirmed sighting of Evelyn Hernandez and of Alex. When the call finally came into the San Francisco Police Department reporting Evelyn and Alex missing, it was May the 7th, 6 full days after they were last seen.
The man on the phone was Herman Albert Aguilera. He told the officers on the other end that he had been trying to get in touch with Evelyn for several days, but hadn't heard back. She hadn't returned his calls, hadn't answered her door. She was due to give birth that week, he explained, and that silence was not like her. What Herman left out in the initial call was important, crucial even, that he was married, that he and Evelyn weren't exactly together, but rather caught in the murky, emotionally fraught waters of a secret relationship, that he had once promised her things like love, family, security, before retreating as soon as Evelyn announced she was pregnant. By the time he picked up the phone to call the police, Evelyn's due date had come and gone. Her hospital bag still sat by the door of the apartment, packed and ready. Her ID, her check, her passport, they were all still there. Evelyn didn't drive. She didn't speak much English. There was no evidence of a plan to leave town. No note, no packed suitcase, no neighbors who had seen her heading out. It was as if she and her son had vanished into the fog. Inside Evelyn's small apartment, police found signs of a life in progress. There were Alex's toys in the basket near the couch, unwashed dishes in the sink, and half-folded pile of laundry on the bed. The hospital bag, still zipped shut, sat just inside the front door. Evelyn had clearly been preparing. She hadn't planned to go anywhere but the hospital. And then there was the IKEA bed. Herman told police he had built it for Alex. He had helped Evelyn with an appointment on April the 30th, taken her to the doctor, dropped her off back home, and then, he claimed, he had put the bed together for the boy. He even picked Alex up from school that afternoon. He said, so Evelyn wouldn't have to. He made it sound like the act of caring, involved father figure. But it didn't take long for detectives to notice the cracks in Herman's story. And the timing. If he hadn't been trying to call her since May the 1st, why wait until May the 7th to report her missing? Why not sooner? And why, if his wife was supposedly unaware of his affair, did she later tell police she already knew about Evelyn, but not the pregnancy? The contradictions began piling up. When Evelyn first told Herman she was pregnant, she imagined a future, a proper family, maybe even marriage. She imagined him stepping up, being a father to both Alex and the baby. But that was before she learned the truth. It had come in a phone call to Herman's mother, a moment of desperation, maybe, or confusion. She called to ask why Herman had suddenly changed, why he had grown distant, and it was then, on the call, that she was told what Herman had failed to mention. He was married and still very much living with his wife. The news shattered Evelyn. She had believed they were building something real. She'd already been through the heartbreak of raising Alex alone. His father, a man in the Navy, had never been involved. And now she was facing the same road again, pregnant, alone. She ended the relationship, but she told Herman she expected him to contribute financially, and to be involved in the child's life. She had made it clear he would not be staying at her apartment anymore. No more playing house, no more games. It was a decision that, in hindsight, may have sealed her fate. On May 31st, 1 month after Evelyn and Alex vanished, a man walked into the local police station and turned in a wallet. He said he had found it in the parking lot in South San Francisco. It had been weeks, he explained. He had tried to return it, knocking on doors near the listed address, but no one answered. Eventually, he gave up and brought it in. Inside the wallet was a disability check dated May 1st, $40 in cash, and Evelyn Hernandez ID. The wallet, the same one she had bought at Ross the day she disappeared, was found just blocks from a gas station, where Herman frequently filled up his work limousine. His company's lot was just a short drive away. It was in an area Evelyn had no reason to be near. She didn't drive. She didn't know anyone there. There were no bus routes that matched her usual routine, but Herman did. Detectives brought him back in, pressed harder. He denied everything, said his wife could confirm that he was home that night. His wife, who was now learning for the first time that Evelyn had been pregnant with her husband's child. Shock, anger, betrayal. Still, she backed his alibi. Herman, she said, was with her that evening. The hours after Evelyn's last phone call accounted for. At least, that's what she said. The calendar turned to July. Evelyn had now been missing for 2 months. Hope had faded. San Francisco Bay is a graveyard with no headstones. It's swallowing things, secrets, names, lives. And in July 2002, it gave one of those secrets back, at least part of it. It was a bright Wednesday morning when a woman walking along the Embarcadero spotted something in the shallows near Pier 70. At first glance, it looked like sea debris, maybe a tangle of clothing or a piece of driftwood. But as the tide pulled and shifted the shape, something unmistakably human emerged. A torso, just the lower half. No head, no arms, no upper body. The legs were clad in what looked like maternity pants, the kind with an elastic waistband made to cradle a growing belly. The fabric was soaked, stretched, and clinging to lifeless skin. The pelvis was fractured. The feet were gone. It was unmistakably a pregnant woman or someone who had been. 3 days later, the coroner confirmed what some already feared. The body belonged to Evelyn Hernandez, a 24-year-old single mother who had vanished nearly 3 months earlier. Her 5-year-old son, Alex, had disappeared with her, and now only part of Evelyn had come back. But Alex was still missing, and Evelyn's unborn baby boy, due in just a week, was nowhere to be found. The discovery should have made headlines across the country. It should have ignited national coverage, inspired manhunts, generated hashtags, protests, and vigils. But it didn't. There was no breaking news alerts, no candlelight interviews with grieving family members aired across every network, no saturation or front pages, no FBI profilers giving their expert takes on primetime. There was just silence. And then, 7 months later, that silence was shattered, but not for Evelyn. In Modesto, California, a woman named Lacey Peterson, 8 months pregnant, young, vibrant, beautiful, went missing. Her story flooded the airwaves almost instantly. For months, it dominated national news. Cable networks launched around-the-clock coverage. Talk shows hosts speculated daily. Her husband, Scott Peterson, became the face of guilt in America's living rooms. And when Lacey's torso washed ashore on April 2003, just a mile away from where Evelyn's remains had been found, the media gasped. The two women's cases were eerily similar. Both were young, pregnant, vanished suddenly. Both were found dismembered in the bay. Both had been preparing for motherhood. Both had people in their lives with motive, and yet only one of them became a household name. Lacey was grieved by a nation. Evelyn was barely mentioned. The difference couldn't be denied. Lacey was white, middle class, married. Her disappearance fits the narrative that moves America. The beautiful victim in peril, the perfect life gone wrong. Evelyn was none of those things. She was brown, an immigrant from El Salvador, a Spanish speaking hotel worker, a single mother with a child from a previous relationship, and a baby on the way, with a man who was married to someone else. She lived in Mission District in a modest apartment, not a suburban dream home. Her English was broken, but her love for her son was not. Evelyn was just as real, just as human, just as deserving of justice. But she did not get the same urgency. She did not get the billboards or the televised search parties or the wall-to-wall coverage. Instead, her mother and sister passed out flyers in English and Spanish, pleading for attention that never fully came. That question has haunted investigators and Evelyn's family for over 2 decades. Alex was last seen on April the 30th, 2002. His backpack was never recovered. His school attendance ended abruptly. His bed, recently assembled by a man Evelyn had been romantically in love with, remained untouched. And when Evelyn vanished, so did he. But when her remains washed up in July, there was no sign of Alex, no child-sized bones, no shoes, no trace. Did he die with her? Was he killed to keep quiet? Or was he taken, spirited away into some dark unknown? There was another possibility, one too cruel to say out loud at first. What if Alex saw what happened to his mother? What if someone murdered her and then made him disappear to bury the last witness? The man Evelyn had been involved with, Herman Aguilera, the married father of her unborn son, had reportedly spent the day with her just before she vanished. He claimed he helped her run errands, picked up Alex from school, helped her build a bed, but after May the 1st, he said she was just gone. He refused a polygraph, lawyered up, offered no further help. His wife was reportedly unaware of Evelyn's pregnancy until after her disappearance. And although the police looked hard at him, there was never enough evidence to make an arrest. Unlike Scott Peterson, Herman never faced a courtroom. His name never became infamous. He simply faded into the shadows, while Evelyn's case faded from the headlines. The autopsy of Evelyn's partial remains were inconclusive. Too much time in the water, too much damage. They couldn't determine how she died, or when, or whether her baby had already been delivered. There was no trace of the fetus. The umbilical cord, if there ever was one, was never found. Just silence. The headlines called her the Torso Woman. They didn't use her name. They didn't talk about her son. They didn't linger on the fact that 2 children vanished that day, one 5 years old and the other still cradled inside his mother. Ruby, Evelyn's sister, still walks along the embarcadero, sometimes looking into the water as if it might finally return what it took. A sign, a clue, a name, anything. It is impossible not to compare the 2 tragedies. Both women were brutally cut short. Both carried sons they would never get to raise. Both were thrown into the same body of water, and yet they received widely different treatments in life and in death. Lacey Peterson's murder became a media storm and a cultural reckoning. Evelyn's became a footnote, but Evelyn was not a footnote. She was a woman, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and someone's lover who trusted the wrong person at exactly the wrong time. The bay took her, the world looked away, and the little boy named Alex was never seen again. Before we end this case, let's talk about the family that was unalived and went missing. There are some stories that never find their ending. Some chapters trail off in silence, still waiting for someone to turn the page. Evelyn Hernandez was more than a missing person. She was a mother, a daughter, a woman who loved fiercely even when life gave her too little in return. She crossed the border for hope, worked long hours cleaning hotel rooms, laughed at her son's little jokes, and held onto dreams even as the world around her stayed cold. She wasn't exactly wealthy, she wasn't famous, but she was extraordinary in the way that mattered most. She had survived so much, and still she showed up each day for her son. And Alex, that bright eyed little boy who loved Pokemon, who looked up at the stars and asked questions only a 5-year-old could think to ask, was the kind of child who brought light into the rooms he entered. He had a gap-toothed smile, a gentle spirit, and a future stolen before he even got to read his first chapter book or ride a bike without training wheels. They vanished in the heart of the city that never stops. But Evelyn and Alex did not disappear from the people who love them. Their faces still live in photographs, faded, yes, but full of life. Their memory still dances in the soft rustle of San Francisco's fog, in the hush of water lapping against the pier. And somewhere out there, in the quiet between waves and a mother's love still echoes, boundless and unfinished. The world may not have searched for them the way it should have. The cameras may have turned away, but the people who knew Evelyn carried her forward. The ones who remembered Alex still say his name. And maybe, just maybe, justice doesn't always look like an arrest or a courtroom verdict. Sometimes justice is refusing to forget. It is holding space for those who were overlooked. It is writing their names into the record, not as victims, but as human beings who mattered. So this, then, is for Evelyn Hernandez and her son Alex. You were loved, you were remembered, you will not be erased. Not here, not ever. This is the case of Evelyn and Alex Hernandez. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Let's begin detectives.
You or me?
Go ahead, I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Okay. So a lot of people think it's Herman. And I'm like, I don't think it's him. Well, I probably think that he was there in the aftermath, but I think it's the wife. And let me tell you guys why. I'm a woman. Let's just be honest. I'm a woman. And if I know that my husband is cheating, because she said, like, oh, I knew about Evelyn. I knew that my husband was cheating. He didn't leave Evelyn. Like, she probably found them like, okay, leave her. But he didn't. Evelyn was the one that in a relationship was like, no, we're done. I'm not being a side piece. I'm not being with a married man. Even though he was still around helping her like money and stuff for their child, she wasn't with him like that. I wonder if the wife did find out she was pregnant and was like, oh, no, because if he's doing all this stuff and like buying stuff for Evelyn and helping her out, the wife had to see like the credit card statements. She had to see something, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I think she probably went over there to Evelyn, started an argument, like leave my husband alone. Evelyn, they said that she was very like shy and stuff like that, but you wasn't going to walk over her, She probably did say, hey, I apologize. Like, I didn't know he married, but like, we having a child together. And let me tell you to all the married men out there, you listening and you cheating on your wife, use protection. Use protection or get cut. Because like, that's how you guys get caught. Because you get the side piece pregnant. Don't get the side piece pregnant. Let's just put that out there. Don't get the side piece pregnant. Like, that's the main thing. But I mean, she probably saw Evelyn was pregnant, all that stuff, and just got fed up and like hit Evelyn over the head and was like, oh my God, oh my God. And then Alex probably ran down and was like, mommy. Like everybody said that he loved his mommy, who was very clingy. So he saw his mama hurt. He's 5. He could tell the police, hey, this is how this woman looked. And she probably had to unalive him or had to probably call like her husband, like, hey, like I effed up, I need your help. And to me, I feel like he probably would help her, but like, it's his mess. I don't know, because if he really did it and the police were like, yeah, your husband did all this stuff, it's, like he got this woman pregnant, he's a suspect. She rode too hard for him. To me, she was like, you still was with him, you still had his bag. Like, lady, his side piece is missing. In a child. Like, as a woman, like, how could you be with a man that cheated on you, got another woman pregnant, and then also the woman went missing with her son? And you still like, oh yeah, he was with me. No, I'm sorry. It's like, I couldn't do it as a woman to stand by this man that has all this issue, but she did. So it's like, I feel like she was somewhere involved of Evelyn and Alex going missing. Well, murder for Evelyn and Alex going missing.
Well, that's a good theory. But I'll stick with the guy that got her pregnant, the baby daddy.
Baby daddy.
I believe he did it. She was like, hey, I need you to be there physically, financially, mentally. And it was probably like, it became too much for him. He had his wife that clearly had his back through this whole thing. And now there was somebody else getting in the way. He clearly didn't want anything with her, because as soon as he found out she was pregnant, he basically kind of started distancing himself. He did say that he was a good father, provider, trying to be there for her, but anybody can try and paint a big, beautiful picture. It's actually the actions that count. He wasn't really there for her, I'm sorry. And he saw that his wife still wanted him. And I feel like it was easier for him to just get rid of the side piece. It was like something fun that became
Serious.
something
Too serious.
too serious. Exactly. He wasn't looking for that. Now, the fact that the baby couldn't be found, that gives me like
Icky vibes.
that creeps me out, because either the baby was born and then it's like, what happened to the baby? Or somebody took the baby out, forced the baby out, and it's like, you killed 3 people, if not 2. These people were like, to me, were innocent. The only thing that Evelyn asked for was for the guy to be a father to her child, because she had already been down that road. And that's why I say it's very, very important who you get married by or you get impregnated by, because that either makes or breaks your life and your child's life too. She had already gone through that. And what's crazy to me is that her first baby daddy was in the military. So why didn't she get him? Because in the military, they hold you to a very high standard. If you cheat, you can get dishonorable discharge. And so him not being there for his child, like, why didn't you go after him?
She probably didn't know to go after him, or he just like went ghost. Because I know some women that get pregnant by a guy in the military, they would call the military over and over, and sometimes the military won't give the woman information or even try to help them. So that's another thing, because they will ride for their brothers. Like, they were like, no,
No, because the military is very serious. Anytime that you work for the government, they're going to try and hold you to a high standard.
Only reason I know that for sure is like, I have a friend that it went through. It took her a long time to put the father of her child that was in the Navy on child support, because he kept getting stationed this way. That like, it was so hard to just like locate him, because sometimes Evelyn could have called him and like, hey, he got me pregnant, but they were like, okay, what's his name? Where is he stationed? What's like so much information,
I don't buy that.
Sorry.
Alex was 5 years old. It doesn't take more than 5 years to figure out where the baby daddy's at and try and go for him.
Let us know in the comment what you think about that. Let's see whose side you're on, because that's a good topic to discuss, you know?
And so she clearly knew to go for the second baby daddy. So to me, that's not an excuse. She probably couldn't get a hold of the first baby daddy for whatever reason, kind of like you mentioned. Or maybe she didn't want to. Who knows? But it's like the fact that she wanted this man, the second baby daddy, to be a father for her second born or her second child and her firstborn. She wanted that life, but he wasn't looking for that.
He wasn't. And he knew that what she was looking for. And that's like another part because people say like Evelyn wasn't the type of person to go out to party. She didn't really date, but she knew Herman, like she knew of him. And then it's another thing. We gotta remember, only reason she found out that he was married, she called the mom. Like she called Herman mom, was like, hey, like I told Herman I'm pregnant and he started acting like this. What's going on? And the mom told, the tea. And it's like, to me, that mean Herman brought her around the family, like around everybody, like the family knew her.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that the mom and them like knew like my son is cheating. My son is doing all this to his wife. And I know of this, and I'm letting this girl come into my house act like I don't like know this information. Like that's kind of like effed up in a lot of ways.
I mean, the fact is, Ermin deceived her. So I don't see him being a good person. He misled her. I believe that he actually unalived her.
I don't. Like, I feel like he had a good thing. Like, well, she's pregnant, but he was kind of there. Like, even though she said, like, hey, we're not together, he was still taking her to doctor's appointment. He was still doing a lot of stuff, She was at the end of her pregnancy. Like, her due date was that next week or that following week or the next week. So he was still around like that.
He stopped cooperating with the police. He lawyered up. He chose his wife.
Shoot.
So to me, I'm sorry, but this is not a good person. Not the picture that you feel.
I didn't say
pain.
He was a good person at all. Never said this man was a good person. Let's put that out there. I just feel like how his wife is still like riding for him. I feel like she was somewhat involved in the unaliving of them. It's just something that I feel. But also, I know sometimes women, like when something, when you're pregnant and like something traumatic happened, like you can go into early labor. And she was almost close to her due date. So I wonder, like, did she go into early labor and they delivered that baby? And another thing is they could have easily sold that baby. Let us be honest. It's sad that she never got the news. Like, she never got the headlines that her case needed to be solved. Like, to get after, to push the police. And 7 months later, another lady in that same, not same predicament because she wasn't, like, side piece or anything. But she was unalived by her husband the same way as Evelyn. And she got all the headlines. And I remember Lacey Patterson case. I remember that headline. I remember the Netflix documentary. I remember everything. I remember the trial going on because I was sitting there watching it. And it didn't take me until like this year to remember Evelyn case. Like I didn't know nothing about Evelyn until like this year when I found this case. I was like, wait a minute, who is Evelyn? Looked her up. Same exact way as Lacey was unalive. And they was months apart. It just said that because of your skin color or how much money you have, people don't care if you go missing or you get unalive. You don't have that look. If you have that look, the media would like put your case out there, try to help the police solve everything. But Evelyn didn't have that. And it's so sad that her and her son's case still not solved. Like Lacey's case was moving fast and got all the information. The police looked to the husband, they solved all these, issues. But it didn't for Evelyn. Well, that's our case. I hope you guys liked it. Please tell us your theories on what you think happened to Evelyn. Do you think it was the wife, the husband, or both together? I would love to hear you guys' theories. Don't forget, we are located on all podcast platforms, also YouTube. So please check us out. Please give us a 5-star rating. Get us up there with them 5 stars rating. Like, comment, and subscribe. And this is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Elizabeth.
Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye.
Lesbian detectives. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it. They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break? Or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian detective. Lesbian detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the lesbian detectives.